about the companies that are like hyper focused on AI and stuff right now because it felt like that was a lot of the companies that got easy capital.
Mm, good. Yeah. I mean, AWS has the biggest, most exposure to the startup ecosystem, but so they could be hurt the most if there's a downturn there. Here's the next slide. So they say Americas remain the largest opportunity. I don't think that's a surprise since I guess that's where most of the tech industry is. Um, and the projection is for global, and this is for what they call IaaS and PaaS, which is infrastructure and platform as a service. Again, you can tell we're not cloud experts here. In 2021, total spend is expected to be $160 billion, and 2025, they're projecting $419 billion. That is a if market share stays the same, that is what are we looking at here? Over 300 billion? No, just south of 300, 260 billion in revenue opportunity for the big three. Oh, actually divide that by 0.775%. Say $200 billion revenue opportunity for those three companies. That is without knowing anything about the cloud. Well, okay, with knowing maybe minimal amounts about the cloud and how it really works, those are some numbers that will make you perk up.
I stand by we talked about this before that they might be the best businesses ever
And the only
up
ones you could
there.
argue, and the only ones you could argue, I think, are the ones that they already. I think the only one you could argue is Google Search, and that's already owned by one of the other companies. Just from the size perspective.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I agree, but capital intensive, so maybe not the best. But at the scale, I mean, the scale is just
Yeah.
unbelievable. Makes me optimistic. And anyone that's interested, check out our two-part series we did. What's his name? Joe Furmansky from Non-Zero Sum Capital, NZS Capital, on Cloudflare. Again, that business I really do not understand. However, he did help us understand it more. They think they can be the fourth horseman, and the opportunity for them just seems really, really strong. They seem like someone that could grow at a high rate for a long time. Not investing advice. I do not know anything about Cloudflare besides what we've talked about really with Joe Formansky, but
I had Joe is obviously an expert and that was a fun interview. And Cloudflare probably has the best pure opportunity because it's not like, you know, when you buy Google, you're not just buying GCP, but you're getting the cloud businesses at the big tech companies cheaper because they're a part of those bigger companies, right? Because Cloudflare, I mean, it's still kind of expensive from what I remember,
yeah,
but
let me pull it up.
you can get AWS for really cheap because right now the e-commerce business is a drag.
And they're spending $12 billion a year on Alexa. Yeah, let me pull up Cloudflare trading at yeah, EV to sales last 12 months of 18. Yikes. Well, everyone else is optimistic about the
Am-
business.
Amazon entirely. Amazon isn't like if you the entire enterprise value is probably what mid-teens sales, mid-teens AWS's sales.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, maybe. Okay.
Okay, wait,
Here's the
hold
other.
on, hold on.
Go ahead. Continue. Continue.
What would you pay for AWS today? Just AWS.
Talking sales multiple.
Yeah,
Okay. Margins about 30%. So if we're looking at 10, I'm trying to think of what 10 times earnings would be on a sales multiple. Why can't you do the math right now?
what, three
No,
roughly?
no, no. 10 times would be three. Yeah, duh. That should be easy math. So 30 times would be about 10. 30 times earnings.
Yeah, it's about 10 times sales.
I think I would inch up to 12 times sales for AWS.
Really?
I think that's the ceiling. Say that's the ceiling of where I think is interesting, given that growth over the next couple, given that revenue is pretty much guaranteed to grow over at
Would
least
you,
the next couple of years.
okay, wait, let me double check something. Would you buy Amazon's entire retail business for $0?
I know. Well, we've talked about this before. It's on the watch list. We need to do the finish up the work on it.
Oh, geez.
I mean, it'd be negative. It's probably negative value, but
If you mark, yeah, if you mark AWS at 12 times, the retail business is negative value.
but that's kind of where I think a fair value is. So I don't know if it's maybe expecting not that great of returns going forward. So maybe where I would actually buy it as an investment would be lower. But the international losses, um, and the other bets investments,
If I'm if I were at an
the
investment bank, I think that would be what my DCF looks like. AWS, 1 trillion. Retail, 0.
zero. Yeah. Okay. So we talked about AWS's record backlog is $104 billion. What do you think the growth it was percentage year over year?
From when to when?
Year over year. So whatever they last quarter versus a year ago, what was the percentage growth?
Mm, I'm not sure. 28%.
57%.
AWS?
Yeah.
What? Oh, the
That's
backlog.
the backlog. Yeah.
Oh, that's even better. Jeez.
That's why that CapEx is going up.
And everyone thinks it's Alexa investments.
Yeah. Let's see. Last slide. Well, just a lot of charts going up to the left. They stay still early innings in secular shift. Public cloud spend should more than double by 2025 with only mid-teens percent of workloads and 5 to 15% of IT spending in the cloud today. Current inflationary environment has driven customers to optimize costs, slowing spending in the near term could pressure growth. Yeah, nothing new there. Got a question or a comment here. Are you guys doing this one later today? Yes. And if you typically, thank you for the question. We want to talk to, I guess, the listeners on the podcast don't care, but for the few people that like to watch on YouTube or replay on YouTube, we started a little late today because of technical difficulties. It happens. It's a 3-man shop over here, and we think our mics might be broken. And second, we did move to 4 p.m. Pacific time in the afternoon, not noon anymore. 4 p.m. is just better for our schedules, and we think better for people getting home from work around dinner time, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
All right. I got a question